So, let's talk about making a change that actually sticks. If you've ever wondered why it's so incredibly hard to lock in a new habit, well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to crack that code. We're going way beyond just trying harder to uncover a science-backed framework that can finally help you get it done.
I mean, we've all been there, right? It's the first week of January, you're full of motivation, gonna hit the gym, eat clean, learn that new language, and then life happens. A week or two later, that motivation just sort of fizzles out. So why does this keep happening?
Now, the typical answer you hear is that we just don't have enough willpower. We need more grit, more discipline. But what if that's just wrong? What if the reason we fail has way less to do with our inner strength and way more to do with our strategy? To make this point, let's look at someone with almost superhuman willpower.
Meet Louis Pugh. This guy is not your average swimmer. He's an elite endurance athlete, and his whole thing is swimming in dangerously cold water. And his goal? It was absolutely massive, to be the first human to swim a full kilometer across the geographic North Pole, wearing only a Speedo. I mean, the stakes really don't get any higher than that.
But get this, even he failed. On his second try, the water was so brutally cold, we're talking minus 1.7 degrees Celsius, that the cells in his hands literally burst from the cold. The pain was just excruciating. He had to quit. And this right here is the whole point. If sheer, brute force willpower wasn't enough for an elite athlete like Pugh, what chance do the rest of us really have?
So if willpower isn't the magic bullet, then what is? Well, lucky for us, there's actually a science to this stuff. We're about to dive into a framework that takes the fuzzy art of making a change and turns it into a concrete step-by-step process. Let's get into it. And here it is. It's an acronym, SCINCE, developed by Dr. Sean Young at UCLA. Each of these letters stands for a powerful psychological force we can harness. We've got Stepladders, community, important, easy, Neurohacks, captivating, and Engrained. Think of this as our roadmap for making change happen.
So after that painful failure, Pugh went back for another try. But this time, he had a totally different strategy. His coach reframed the entire challenge. He said, "Louis, forget about the kilometer. You'll never make it if you think about that. We have to break this beast down." He didn't tell him to be tougher. He gave him a better process.
So how did this new approach actually work in practice? Well, let's go through each part of the SCIENCE framework. We'll use Pugh's story and a few other real-world examples to see exactly how you can start hacking your own habits. First up, S is for Stepladders. The idea here is so simple but so powerful. You take your big, scary, intimidating goal and you break it down into tiny, manageable steps. For Pugh, this meant his coach set up 10 flags in the water, each one just 100 meters from the last. His only job was to swim to the next flag. Forget the kilometer, just get to the next flag.
Next, C is for community. The science on this is crystal clear. One of the fastest ways to change yourself is to change the people you're around. Pugh wasn't out there alone. He had his whole 29-person crew from 10 different countries. And his coach used this, telling him to focus on the flag of each nation as he swam, connecting his personal struggle to his team.
All right, I is for important. Your reason for changing can't be some fuzzy, vague idea like, I want to be healthier. It needs to be something concrete, something immediate, a why that really lights a fire under you. For Pugh, it wasn't just about setting a record. His deeper mission was to show the world that the polar ice caps were melting. That's the kind of mission that pulls you through unbearable pain.
Okay, now for E, which stands for easy. And this one might sound a little bit backward, but stick with me. The secret to building a difficult habit is to make it absurdly, ridiculously easy to start. We're not talking about making the goal itself easy, but making that very first step so simple that you just can't say no.
Stephen Gies, who's an expert on mini habits, just nails it with this quote. Think about it. The biggest hurdle isn't running the 5K. It's putting on your running shoes and getting out the door. Resistance is always highest right at the beginning. So the trick is to lower that initial barrier to almost zero.
And here's how you do it. You make the start stupidly small. So Stephen Gies, he wanted to get in shape but kept failing. So one night, he just decided, okay, I'm going to do one single push-up. That's it. It was so easy, his brain couldn't even argue. He got down, did one, and, since he was already on the floor, he figured he'd do a few more. That one tiny push-up turned into a real workout, and eventually, a lifelong habit.
And easy has another side to it. Sometimes the easiest change isn't starting something new at all. It's stopping something old.
Like in that classic Bob Newhart comedy sketch where his advice to every patient is just stop it. It's funny, but there's a real truth there. It takes way less energy to not open a distracting app than it does to train for a marathon.
Okay, moving on to N for neurohacks. This is where we learn how to trick our own brains. See, the old way of thinking is change your thoughts and your actions will follow. A neurohack completely flips that around. You start with a tiny behavior and you let your mind catch up later. You literally act your way into a new way of thinking.
And here's a brilliant example. Think about it. Your identity is just your repeated beingness. It's the things you do over and over. So use that. A really simple hack is to change a password you type every single day. If you want to quit smoking, make your password quit at smoking forever. Going through a tough breakup, try something like forgive at her. Every single time you log in, you are hammering that new identity into your brain.
The second C is for captivating. Now this is all about the reward, and it's where most of us get it completely wrong. A little check mark on a to-do list or a single piece of dark chocolate, that's not going to cut it. To really rewire your brain, the reward has to be something you genuinely crave, something your brain gets really, truly excited about.
And you don't have to take my word for it. Listen to the guy who created this whole framework, Dr. Sean Young. He admitted that when he was first building his gym habit, his reward wasn't some healthy protein shake. Nope, it was an In-N-Out double-double burger. Now that sounds crazy, right? But the goal of the reward isn't to be healthy. It's to be so captivating that your brain starts to link the new habit with pure unadulterated pleasure.
And all of these steps, the stepladders, the community, the rewards, they all lead to this final letter, E, for Engrained. This is the Holy Grail. This is when, through all that repetition, the new behavior stops being a conscious effort and becomes an unconscious, automatic routine. It's just part of who you are now.
This powerful old poem just says it all, doesn't it? Habit is this incredible force that can either build your world or tear it down. Once a behavior is truly ingrained, it works for you on autopilot. It can put the world at your feet, or if you're not careful with the habits you build, it can destroy you. The whole game is choosing which habits to ingrain.
So, we've walked through the whole science framework. And this isn't just a list of interesting tips, it's a complete toolkit. It's a full-on mindset upgrade. It's about finally stopping the fight against your brain and instead starting to work with how it's actually wired.
So let's just recap it one more time. The science of lasting change isn't about strength, it's about strategy. It's about breaking things down with stepladders, getting support from your community, finding an important why, making the start so easy it's impossible to skip, using neurohacks to act your way into a new identity, finding truly captivating rewards, and repeating it all until it's ingrained. That, right there, is the science. And that brings us to one last, really powerful thought to leave you with. For just a moment, forget about starting something new. Flip the script. Ask yourself this question. What is the one thing that, if you simply stopped doing it, you know would have the biggest positive ripple effect across every single area of your life? The answer to that, well, that might just be the easiest and most important change you can make.